So, hi everyone. I am Asia Barbie, and welcome to Braven Atlanta's new podcast. I'm your host for today's conversation, Gen Z Takes the Table. I am on the Atlanta Braven team and a proud Spelman alumna of class of 24. So, I'm so excited to just hop into today's conversation with two incredible young Spelman women Spelmanites, soon to be Spelman women, who are not just preparing for careers in medicine and leadership, but they are actively shaping the spaces that they're in. Parys and Campbell, welcome.
Okay, so I guess I'll start with my introduction. My name is Cambel An. I am a sophomore health science major on the pre-med track from Cypress, Texas, and I'm so excited to be here.
Hey.
Hello, everyone. My name is Parys. I'm a sophomore health science major as well on the pre-medical track from Atlanta, and I'm so excited.
Yes, me too. Thank y'all both for taking the time to be here and speaking with me. And let's just go ahead and start diving in. So before we dive into like your accolades and your experiences, because you guys have a lot, if you had one word to describe your Spelman experience thus far, what would it be and why?
I would definitely say growth. As much as I would have thought, like, oh, I'm so prepared, like, I made it into Spelman, like, every single year, every month, every week almost, like, there's something to grow in, and there are so many opportunities here. So, really, just relying on my professors, even organizations like Braven, being able to gain so many experiences is just growth, like, all the time.
Yeah.
That's really good. I would say transformative as well. I think there's a lot that Spelman has shaped in me so far. I came in not knowing what I wanted to do, not having any experiences, any internships, any skills, practical skills, and I think that Spelman really transformed the way that I viewed the world as well, like with our classes ADW, with Braven, shaping, how I look at the job market, how I look at a career, and like, who I am as a person and how that's going to be impacted by my career and how I can impact others through that as well.
For sure. I remember when I was at Spelman, I felt like every semester I could feel myself getting smarter and smarter.
Yes.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. So both of y'all are doing amazing things, and so I just kind of want to take a deep dive into it and like what you all are doing with your volunteer work, with your clinical research and things like that. So we can go ahead and start with Paris.
Okay, so I can start off. So I'm currently, I did research this past summer, and 2 weeks ago I actually presented at the annual academic surgical congress in Florida.
Woo!
So I presented on my research this summer. What else am I doing? I'm currently doing a medical internship at Good Samaritan. It's for like underserved populations. It's a free clinic in the area, and I kind of serve as a medical assistant. So I do medical intake and things like that. And I'm definitely using some of the skills that I learned from Braven in that as well, in regards to like communication skills, professionalism, and things like that.
Nice.
And I also am at Mimi's Pantry as well. I'm a pantry coordinator for Spelman. I'm at our satellite location, and we just kind of work to reduce food insecurity and address that on our college campus.
Yeah, I love that.
I love that. So right now I'm also pre-med, but to get into a little bit of my nonprofit work, I have a nonprofit organization that my sister and I founded in 2012 called Kelsey and Campbell's Kids Care Incorporated. And the premise of our organization was literally to get kids involved in the community when we were kids. And so we started off with just writing letters. It was just simple things. Okay, then we'll start collecting donations, and it's just turned into this whole movement over the years where we've been able to make impact as far as Ghana, Uganda, Haiti, and all these partnerships. We have a partnership with Walmart where we get donations for them multiple times a week, and just continuing to grow as an organization. And I think one of our main impacts is really getting children and adults alike to make an impact in the community. And so a lot of times we'll have high school students, or even like as young as like 4 years old, like you can write a card for somebody. You can bring donations with your parents. So really getting that heart of compassion and being able to help someone else at an early age and for the right reasons, like not just doing service to do service, but figuring out what fits you and how you can make an impact no matter where you are in life, no matter what your goals are. Like you can make an impact. And so that's kind of what I've been doing. And then as far as pre-med, I was able to study abroad in Trinidad and Tobago with the health careers program here. I was able to conduct breast cancer research, kind of comparing breast cancer outcomes in Trinidad versus the U.S. So, yeah.
Nice. That sounds very interesting.
It does, right? Okay, so I do have like a little off question. What were your findings with comparing the two countries?
So actually, it was pretty similar. So whenever you think about the demographics of Trinidad, it's kind of the Indian descent and then the African descent. And so unfortunately, a lot of the women of African descent had higher rates and lower recovery outcomes in Trinidad. But we had the opportunity to meet with the Ministry of Health, which is like similar to our branches of government. The Ministry of Health is like over all sorts of health things there. And so just taking a deep dive into the diets and the treatments, a lot of their treatment opportunities are not as great. And a lot of times they're finding cancer a little bit too late. And so compared to America, we definitely have a lot more treatment and a lot of like mammogram screenings and things of that sort. But there are schools, like we were with the University of the West Indies, that are working actively to try to mitigate issues like that. So yeah.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah, very inspiring. Okay, so I know that both of you all are very like deeply rooted in service. How has it shaped the way that you approach leadership or your career strategy? Let's start with you.
Okay, I can start. So I'm currently a volunteer at Raising Expectations, where I tutor middle school students and elementary school students. And so in that, it's kind of shaped me to kind of not take ownership, but like learn how to lead a team of individuals as well. Like they're very young, they kind of want to do their own thing, but to be able to take initiative and kind of have some structure and like kind of guide them in their age, I think that has definitely helped my leadership skills as well. And I will also say, even at the pantry as well, my service there, being able to lead a team of volunteers, being able to coordinate when everyone's coming in and things like that, it's kind of helped build me as a leader, I would say,
Absolutely. So I would say as far as service leadership, I'm a Bonner Scholar here. And so last year I was able to work at Hollis Elementary, which is right around the corner. We have a lot of elementary schools that a lot of Bonner Scholars volunteer at. And that really changed my perspective on a lot of things. Unfortunately, like this area specifically is very different. And so a lot of the children I was working with were having trouble reading. And so really just taking initiative to figure out what is needed and then meeting that need has been one of those big leadership things that I've learned through Bonner here. And so originally going in, I was like, okay, it's kindergartners, like ABCs, we're going to go play, like all these things. But when you go in and realize like some of these kids can't match their sounds to their letters, can't even go through the whole alphabet, and really taking a step back to say, okay, what is needed right now and how can I work to fix that? And I'm also the class president here at Spelman.
Nice.
It's so sophomore class president. And so I would definitely say that it really has made me understand my sisters a little bit more. We have so many different paths, so many different personalities. People are from everywhere. So even like last year, one of the girls that lived down the hallway from me, she was from Africa, and she was, a broad student. And so really being able to say, okay, as a leader, how can I connect with everybody? How can I make sure that everybody has a place? Because we are all so different. And so I would definitely say, like, I've never had an experience like class president before, but it has been one of the most transformative experiences. And just learning how to work with different people as well. Like the council is like, I think there's 9 of us on the council. It's really saying, okay, how do we bring all of our visions to life? How do we include everybody's opinions, everything of that sort? So
got it. Yeah, that sounds very interesting, especially with just being at an HBCU and an all-women's college. Sometimes you may think like, oh, okay, well, we're all Black women, and that is something that we can all like understand. But even within that, everyone is so different. And even just like regionally, with Spelman being such a great school, we have people from California, from Texas, everywhere, abroad students. So I totally understand that. So let's get into our second question. What is something that you all learned about yourself while being involved in your community?
I would say that I've really learned how much I like to have fun, honestly. And so one of the things, like I mentioned with my organization, is really finding service that works for you. So if you are not good with people, you can still help without talking to people. Like you can collect donations, you can give money, things of that sort. And so whenever it came to putting on these events and everything always turned into some type of game. Everything turned into fun. But that's good. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are going through things where every day cannot be a ball. Like, and so really being able to bring joy to other people through fun and through my happy-go-lucky spirit is something that I genuinely enjoy and that I've genuinely started to realize about myself more and more over the years. So even like I was talking about the kids at Hollis, like, yes, we were reading most of the time I was there, but you better believe that there was some red light, green light, like there was some duck, duck, goose, because like everybody needs a little bit of joy. And I really realized that I'm a good person for that. And so,
Yeah, I love that.
That's really good. Yes. I would say for me, connection. I love making connections with people. And I think, especially at Mimi's Pantry, I see so many different people from all different schools. Like when I'm working at Clark, I see the Morehouse students, I see the Clark students. And to be able to just make connections with them and learn about, what they're going through, what they're doing, just to make connections. And also same with at raising expectations. I think since they're in a different age range, they kind of have different interests and things like that. So to be able to kind of make connections with a variety or with a diverse group of people,
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I have a follow-up question for you working with Mimi's Pantry, and I know that they target food insecurity like on Spelman's campus and then just also within the West End as well. What is one thing that you got from that and you learned that you were not expecting to learn? Because I'm sure when you first started, you're like, that you're going to be working with food insecurities and things of that sort, and you're from Atlanta, so you're familiar with like the West End. But what's something that you learned that you were not expecting to?
I would say something that I learned was maybe the social justice aspect of that as well.
Okay.
Because with being at Mimi's Pantry, it's through the Joseph E. Lowry Institute
Right.
for Justice and Human Rights. So being able to get other perspective, we actually have a group of I forgot what the name of. They're not coordinators. They're a different group, but they're doing research on these topics. So it's like a social justice one. It's one for food insecurity. It's one for the education aspect, and they're all doing work. So I didn't realize how deep these disparities and this insecurity goes, like in the justice aspect of it. And I also saw, too, how it influences health outcomes. Me being pre-med, being able to see how, like, that as a social determinant influences people's outcome. Like, if you don't have enough food, then, that's going to impact your health. If you don't have the resources that you need, whatever it is, it's going to impact your outcome wherever you are. So I think that's something I definitely learned, which was very interesting and very applying to my future career.
Yeah.
I think I'll take that into perspective as well.
For sure. That's amazing. Okay, let's see. Alrighty, so let's dive into your clinical and research experience. So I know both of you guys are doing hands-on work that's really about impact, but you're also in spaces where strategy and skills matter. So let's see. Can you talk a little bit more about your nonprofit, Kelsey and Campbell's Kids Care? I know you touched on it a little bit earlier, but what was your reasoning for starting it? And then also, what was your reasoning for continuing it? Because I know you started it in 2012, and that's a very long time ago from 2026, and it's still going strong. So can you just kind of share that journey?
So when we started our organization, I would say our first initiative was after the Sandy Hook shooting. I was 6, my sister was 8. The understanding of something like that was very minimal, but all we saw was that children had passed away and everybody was sad. There was an outrage. And we were like, what can we do? So we asked our mom, we were like, hey, we should write letters to these people that are sad. And she was like, okay. We're like, yeah, let's ask our friends at school. Let's ask our neighbors. Let's ask our church members. And she's just like, okay. Right. And so something like that, we wrote letters, collected them, and sent them off. And then we were like, okay, that felt good. So it just kept going and going. Okay, we see this other issue. Let's do something similar to what we did back then. And so one of our first big initiatives was Christmas caroling for a cause.
Oh, nice.
And so we'd go around our neighborhood, and we had elderly people, we had people that were bedbound, people fighting different things in our neighborhood. You really never know what's going on in every individual house. And we go around, knock on the doors. If we had to go into somebody's room because they were bedbound, we'd all go sing. And at this point, it's like 6-year-old, 10-year-olds. You know what I'm saying? It's just and we're just making an impact. And then once we did that, the next year we said, okay, we found an orphanage in Haiti that we ended up partnering with. So your ticket to get in was bring a donation for that orphanage. So you'd bring a donation, and then we go Christmas carol, and then we just send all those donations to that orphanage in Haiti.
Nice.
And so little things like that. And so at that point, it's just we love making an impact.
Yeah.
And it just continued, honestly. Our friends keep coming back to us, friends that might not have other volunteer opportunities. Like, when's the next time we're going to do this? When's the next time we're going to do that? And so at my high school, I started a chapter of our organization at my high school, Kids Care Side Ranch. And so it was a club at high school. So people that might not have known outside of school now could join the organization. And we did volunteering. And one thing we did was a sports day at the Mission of Yahweh Homeless Women and Children's Shelter.
Nice.
And so athletes that, I might not have even met before. I went to a very big high school. They came out and they showed them their sports, all those things. And it's like a lot of them hadn't volunteered before. And so it's just like, wait, I love playing with these kids. Like, but you have no idea what the person you're helping is going through. Like, these people do not have homes of their own. They don't have rooms of their own sometimes, but you're just coming out and sharing what you can do, what you can show them, what you can share with them. And so even throughout, my sister actually had a chapter here while she was at Spelman. And so they were able to help with Ebenezer Baptist Church, do some donation drives, all those things. So really just seeing how far it can travel while still, you know, making that same impact. Like, we're the same people and some things never change. Like, making an impact really is good for the heart and is good for the community. So I think it's something that will continue for as long as we can. And even though, like, our friends and our peers that we started with at 6 and 8, you know, we're all grown, in different places. Like, we still have 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds that we don't even know still doing the work because we made that platform. So
Wow.
That's amazing. Right? Very, very inspiring. Y'all are doing such great things. Let's see. So I know that both of you all have done like medical research, and I was able to understand it a little bit, but I don't really have a medical background. Poli sci here. So can you give us like a brief synopsis of the research that you have done, and also why did you want to go into that?
Okay, I can start. So last summer at UAB, I did research on thyroid pathology reports. And so what we did was make them patient-centered and patient-facing. So basically that just means that we're just getting their perspective. So I did interviews, and we also did like surveys on their original pathology reports, and then the ones that we made that were that like incorporated their feedback. So they were more, I guess, like reduced medical language or like easier to understand. There were visual aids, things of the sort. So that research was very important to me because I just think it's so important to understand what's happening with you, especially if you're getting a pathology report. That means like you're getting assessed for cancer. So being able to fully understand what's going on inside your body is really important. And it also influences your patient-making decision, like to make informed decisions about your care. You have to understand what's really going on. So I think it was really meaningful research, and I'm really thankful that I did it. I think it opened a lot of doors for me in regards to like presenting as well, being able to connect with other students who are doing research as well and learning what they're doing and how it's really making an impact for, you know, future generations and just future patients.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So I did talk a little bit about breast cancer research, but I was able to do research on Van der Wood syndrome during the pre-health summer program with Dr. Bass here at Spelman. And so a little bit about that research, it was really, she wanted us to tackle a task that affected underrepresented communities and affected minorities. And so for Van der Wood syndrome, that's basically like the syndrome and the gene mutation that causes like cleft lip and cleft palate. And so I'm still interested in being a plastic surgeon, and of course I wanted to continue my service, so I was thinking about like that service being continued, working on things like that in countries that might not be able to afford or might not have the care to get surgery in those places. And so a little bit of what we went over was just kind of the different impacts of it and the gene mutations that kind of led to that. And there were 2 different types of mutations that could have led to cleft lip and cleft palate, but I was specifically focused on Van der Wood syndrome.
Gotcha. That's very, very interesting for both of you all. Let's see. So I know that you all were both talking about like your clinical research and how it's like affected your career roadmap. How has like being able to do your research, how has it, I guess, made your career roadmap a little bit more specific? Because I'm sure when you all came into Spelman, did you all know that you wanted to do research and what type of research that you wanted to do?
I can start off. Okay, so coming to Spelman, I had no clue that I wanted to do research. This all came with the UAB PRSCP program that I did, which is why I'm very glad that I did it. Yes, I would say, sorry, could you follow up with the other question? You said the first part.
So how has doing your research or your clinical work in your spaces shaped your career roadmap?
Okay, I would say it definitely kind of enforced that I wanted to do research in addition to being a physician, like MD and PH, because I think that research is so important as a physician to understand, you know, really what's going on at that molecular level, at the thing. And also, I'm very interested in health disparities research as well. So I think that will definitely play a role in my role as a physician as well. So it kind of just showed me that I do love research and I love health disparities and being able to, you know, promote health equity through that research to provide the best care to my patients in the future.
I love that.
what Paris said was spot on. I definitely think that as Black women and as future Black female physicians, it is important to have the top understanding
Mm-hmm.
of whatever you want to do and some. And so, as far as like plastic surgery, and I also am interested in OBGYN. I want to understand anything that affects my people, especially women. And so, just being able to get a better understanding of things, even things that might not be relevant to the specific field you're in, is extremely important, especially in the day and age we're in right now. And so women like Dr. Bass, like she's the head of the health careers program, she is very adamant about you need to get every experience you have the opportunity to have, and you need to do research at some point in your college experience. And so being able to do that with her right before my first year really kind of set me on the correct trajectory for what I'm going to do throughout my time at Spelman and beyond. And so even when I went to Trinidad for breast cancer, like that was with one of Dr. Bass's colleagues, Dr. Scott. And so really just understanding the importance of what needs to be known and done. A lot of times the research is not focused on us, and the research doesn't include how we are disproportionately affected. And so we need to be able to be the people to do that and understand when things are wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Because even when I was here at Spelman, I did some research on like environmentalism and just how the disparities between, for example, like Black children are way more likely to have asthma than like white children and Asians and like Hispanics. And that's simply because that's a whole nother conversation for another day. Okay, so let's go ahead and start talking about confidence, belonging, and like imposter syndrome. So I know both of you are doing research and going into like the medical field after graduation. And so how has your relationship been with imposter syndrome, and how were you able to overcome it? And if it's still something that you are overcoming, how are you doing that?
I can start.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a first generation college student. So
Nice.
coming to Spelman was definitely an adjustment.
Yeah.
I think everyone here kind of had an idea of where they wanted to go in their career. They had, kind of opportunities beforehand. So I think that coming here, I was like, oh wait, maybe I'm not meant to be here. Like I don't have the experiences they have. I don't have, whatever the research is or the internships or the interview prep. I don't have any of that. So, and it's still something that I do struggle with as well. LinkedIn is my best friend and also my enemy as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I would say. I definitely face imposter syndrome coming here, and it's something I kind of still struggle with.
Yeah.
I would definitely say it's a little bit different because my sister did go here and I did have a year with her here at Spelman. And confidence is something that my mom has like overly stressed. But one thing I will say is like my dad is an immigrant, and so like he came and my grandparents, and they like are very hard workers, like overly about the grind. And then on my mom's side of the family, it's kind of rule like not everybody went to college. Like we have family land, so tending to that is, okay, going, preaching at the church. And so really I kind of came like fighting for like what do I have to prove? Like I feel like I have something to prove all the time, or like I feel like I have to kind of be like, okay, I want to inspire like my younger cousins that like Spelman is accessible, like medical school is accessible, doing whatever you want to do, being on podcasts, starting your own organization, like you can do these things because not everybody did that, and not everybody in our family had the opportunity to do that. So I don't even think that it was necessarily imposter syndrome, but more of like feeling like I have something to prove, even when you don't.
Yeah, for
100%.
sure. I know for me personally, I just want to quickly share this. I had imposter syndrome when I first started working like full time, because even though I had like the internships and I had experience, but once you actually start working, you're like, whoa, what's this? And then there's a bunch of like buzzwords and like, oh yeah, circling back and like team up.
Circling back.
What is happening
To
here?
piggyback.
Piggyback off that. Let's circle back to this.
Yeah. So no, it's definitely, I think imposter syndrome, because I have struggled with that without even really knowing that I was struggling with it, is something that like can come in, and I think it's the confidence. That's where that comes in, because it's like, okay, well, I got this job for a reason, or I got, accepted for a reason.
Yeah.
I am good enough,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely, I think also just as like a Black woman, it can be a little harder to, like you have to be twice as good to get half as far and all that good stuff. So just like growing up and hearing that and knowing that, it can definitely take, it can take a
I
toll
can do
on
something.
you.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. But I'm so happy that you all are working through that. And yeah, just like every year knowing that you belong here, wherever that
Mm-hmm.
space is. Okay, cool. So, da, da, da. Speaking of belonging, what was one moment that you thought, whether it's clinical research or even just like within the classroom or like an interview or something, where you're like, yes, I belong here?
Mm. I would definitely say on my study abroad trip, like
Yeah.
that was one of the best like experiences. Like all the girls that I went with, like most of them I didn't know prior to the trip,
Mm-hmm.
but one just being in the Caribbean, like my grandparents are Caribbean, but like I haven't had much time there. So
Yeah.
just going back and kind of connecting to those roots, like,
Mm-hmm.
and then also being with like a bunch of women that are like minded, like all of us are, striving for really big goals.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just such a good experience. And I was like, yes, like these are my people. This is where I need to be. This is
Yeah.
what I need to be learning. This is what I need to be researching. Like nothing was a question mark in my head. Like
Mm-hmm.
even the professors that we had with us, like everybody was just willing to help, willing to do
Yeah.
this and that. And also just I think it was a perfect mix of cultural experience as well as medical experience. So
Mm.
we also got to learn about like the Trinidadian culture and kind of like the history. We did a whole like black or African history tour there. And so it
Nice.
just felt so like, yes, this is
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
home. This is me, a little mix of everything. So
Yeah. Nice. I love that. That's a great experience.
Yeah. Can this apply to internships or is this
Yeah,
Spelman
everything.
specifically?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So I would say my medical internship at Good Sam.
Yeah.
The first day I started, I was like, this is where I'm supposed to
yeah.
be. Truly.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all, kind of like you were saying, your experience, where you guys all had similar motivations and things like that. That's what I felt at Good Sam. Like,
Yeah.
we all have a heart for people. We all have that compassion and that care for all of our patients and just people in general. And it was just such a collaborative and welcoming community. And I said, this is
Mm.
what I want to do. Medicine is it. And learning from like the physicians and the medical assistants who are doing exactly what I want to do.
Yeah.
It's like you guys are doing what I'm doing and you're welcoming me and teaching me how to do
Yeah.
these things and guiding me. So I never felt alone and it just felt like this is it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it kind of confirmed my career path as well that medicine is
Yeah.
also my path.
And I think that's a really good point about like the welcoming environments.
Mhm.
Like there are some places you'll go where you're just like,
Yeah.
I don't know. But like especially being pre-med, like going into environments where they're
Mhm.
welcoming and they want to teach you, they want to
Yes.
tell you, okay, this is how you apply here.
Yeah.
This is what you
Mhm.
need to do after you do this. Like that is the best feeling,
Yes.
especially
Mm-hmm.
as a black woman, because sometimes there are just certain doors that you won't even see.
Yeah.
But having somebody there to point you in the right
Mhm.
direction, like means everything.
Yeah, for sure.
100%.
I definitely understand that because even here at Braven, like our team is half of Spelman alum, and then the other half, it's all black women. And coming here and having such a supportive team that want to see you succeed
Mhm.
and also like take your ideas and like I love that, let's run with it.
Yes.
That's very very important. Just having that in like supportive environment. Even I had an internship where I interned with Douglas County Superior Court, and I was interning with Judge Cynthia Adams.
Mm.
Ooh.
Yes, and she's actually the first black woman to be appointed to a superior court in Douglas County.
Wow.
So,
Wow,
shout out to her.
Yeah.
Shout out.
But yeah, she was just so welcoming, and she also graduated from an HBCU, and just really taught me the ins and outs
Mhm.
of like college and like, okay, well, you can major in really anything, but you want to major in something that's gonna help your reading skills and your writing skills and all that good stuff. So definitely having a supportive system around you is important. So actually, with that, that's a great segue into our next topic. Um, let's see. So I do just kind of want to explain Braven to those who may be unfamiliar with it that are listening. We focus on career readiness and developing soft skills to be successful in your career post graduation and your internships while you're in school. So I want to know from the both of you, and we can start with Paris, what Braven skill or habit do you find yourself using the most now in research, clinical work, leadership, internships, any of that?
I would say Ikigai. I feel
Mm.
like doing the Ikigai really made me kind of do a lot of reflection
Yeah.
and kind of help me see what is my passions, what is my motive, what wakes me up, what is my purpose, and that influences decisions I make in regards to like choosing an internship or choosing research. I want to make sure it's meaningful and it aligns like with my values.
Yeah.
So that's something I really take with me everywhere and will continue to in my future career.
I love
Yeah.
that.
I would say, I would definitely say either the resume or networking
Mhm.
workshop. So for the resume, you would think I had it together, but I really that thing was too long. And so after Braven, I was like, oh my God. Like I was like, what am I doing? And my thing was like 2 pages. It was so bad. But maybe even 3. But definitely it helped me work on my resume, which has been so helpful. Like even today I went to a health career fair and like I was like, okay, this is 1 page. This is perfect. It's in order. But yeah. And then for networking, I think I'm pretty good at networking, like, because I just love to talk.
Yeah.
It's fine. But
nothing wrong with a good yes session.
it was just really fun. Like, I loved that they kind of categorize things to where you could really understand, okay, what am I supposed to be talking about? Because I can get off topic real quick.
Yeah.
So it really helped me gather my thoughts for networking events and things of that sort.
Nice.
That's great.
Yeah. And honestly, so y'all know I never took Braven, right? So when I first started working here, everything was new to me. And so it was like I was taking Braven. And I always was kind of scared of networking. Like, like,
Same.
right?
Same.
Because even though, yeah, it's just a conversation, once you get used to it, cool. But initially, I'm not as outgoing as you are. So I was super scared. And I think that, like, even within practicing with students has helped me gain the confidence. It's like, oh, okay, well, this is actually not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really love that we have like the networking and the resume building, find your ikigai, all that good stuff. So let's go to our second question. What is something from Braven that felt small at the time or even annoying? Because I know, hey, we hear the feedback sometimes.
Oh, yes.
But it ended up being really powerful later.
I would low-key say my relationship with my cohort.
That's what I was going to say,
Really?
the cohort.
Yeah,
for sure.
because
For sure.
I was like, what am I doing with these people on Zoom? Like, and a lot of them I didn't know before they were in my cohort, but now, like, most of them, like, I will say hi to them in the hallways.
Yeah.
We've been able to connect on things that we wouldn't have been able to connect with outside of this, because a lot of them were, like, different majors than me. So, especially now, I only see health science people.
Yeah,
for real.
yeah.
And so, even, like, one of the people in my cohort, like, she was talking to me about wanting to run for class council, and she hadn't run before. And so being able to build those connections, like figure out how we can help each other. And she was like a DJ.
Nice.
I was like, wait, because we need DJs and we keep pulling people from Morehouse. Like, let me get a girl to DJ in here. So just things like that. I just loved, I loved getting to know each other. And even though like we're not like best friends, like knowing people is one of the best things that you can be.
Yeah.
Or you can do.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I love my cohort.
Yeah, love that.
Okay, I would say my cohort as well, but then I'll say my LCs, the one-on-ones we had to do. Truly, I did not want to do a one-on-one because
I mean, because being honest, who wants to do that?
yes, one-on-ones are very intimidating for me, but I
Yeah.
think it really allowed me to connect with my LC. Because I had 2, but I only met with one of them, and I truly got to connect with her. She was giving me a lot of feedback. She told me about this group that was called Toastmasters, and she was saying that I should join Toastmasters to practice like my communication skills and public speaking.
Yeah.
So it was good to really connect and bond one-on-one without like being in a group. I learned a lot about her, and I thought that was, very good because I didn't want to do it. And I was like, wait, there's some light at the end of the tunnel. This was actually pretty chill. This was not bad.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think Braven a lot of times will have you like, will stretch you and have you do things that you don't want to do or may seem small or like annoying. But then you can really see, okay, so this does actually tie into something. Like Braven actually is doing something right. Yeah, no, I get that. Okay. Yes, the professional mentor program. So just for those listening, we have a professional mentor program here at Braven where you are able to get paired with a mentor that is in your field one-on-one. And Parys is taking advantage of that this semester. So can you tell us a little bit about your experience and also what inspired you to apply?
Yes. Okay, so I love it so far. We're only in week 2. We just finished our second meeting. I met with him Thursday.
Nice.
He's a retired educator from Boston.
Nice.
It's been really nice. I think Braven does a great job at teaching us like the resume and leadership leadership and like resume building and things like that. But to really have a mentor that can continue that on. So it's like for this next 12 weeks, like I'm applying to internships. He's guiding me through my resume, guiding me through to like interview prep, all of those things. It's been very informative and like helpful to kind of put what I learned to Braven into perspective, into practice. Yeah, like I'm actually genuinely practicing it.
Yeah.
And I think I applied really because I feel like I just still needed extra support in regards to applying, because I think that I have an idea of like what my application should look like applying to a job, but to be able to get like expert feedback kind
Yeah.
of, and like also practicing with like interview prep, like being able to, have someone to do that one-on-one with. I think it's been really helpful, and that was one of the reasons I applied, because I just still think I needed a little bit more assistance with actually putting this into practice, what I learned in Braven.
Absolutely. And that's the one thing that I do love about Braven is that it doesn't just stop within the accelerator. Like once you are finished with that, you then become a post-accelerator fellow, also known as a path. And we're still here to support you. Even once you all graduate and walk that stage, we are here
That's
after
amazing.
6 months. Yeah. So that's what I love about it. It's just, and also this, how many times am I going to say also? The Spelman community within itself, and like CPD and Spelman pathways, and then also Braven being here at Spelman is like, we have a good community and a good support system for our students.
Yeah.
Okay. So since we've kind of been talking about like soft skills, do you think that your talent or what is on your resume is enough? Or do you also need those soft skills and like that coaching and community and things of that sort?
I think you do need both.
Yeah.
I think you do need both. But one thing I learned from Braven was like you need to integrate that into like the experience that you put on your resume as well. So it's like, experience in applying knowledge and da 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 da.
Right.
So I think both are very important, and it's very important to express those whenever you are applying for things and like talking, interviewing, things of that sort. So
Yeah, I understand that. What about you?
I would agree 100% you need the soft skills, because I think you can, especially in interviews, like you can look at someone's resume, but if you can't have a conversation with them and like, you know what I mean, have that communication, is very difficult, and it kind of makes it harder for you to get that position.
Yeah.
But when you have those soft skills and you're able to connect with people, you're able to, just be friendly and all those things, it really impacts your career.
Yeah.
And providing like a good work environment as well.
For sure. And also just now being a working adult, which sounds so crazy because I feel like I was just y'all. But like knowing that you do have to communicate and you have to be in meetings where you are presenting and you are talking to your team, and like being able to have a problem and solve it and do that well. So, and a lot of those comes from soft skills, so that is very, very important. Okay, so we are about to wrap up. I know.
This was so fun.
It was.
Great conversation.
Okay, so I guess we can dive into like the reflection. So let's start with this. For students who are listening and want to get involved in like research or service and anything of that sort, where should they start?
I think you should start with what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, like, what do you care about? It does not have to be what I care about. It does not have to be what Paris cares about. Like, what do you care about? And then how can you accelerate in that? And so, for example, like, I love kids. So a lot of the service that I do does have to do with kids because I love it. And then now I'm pre-med, so I also serve at Piedmont Hospital and at a hospice facility to, like, kind of make sure your service matters to you. Don't just do service to do it, because it shows in the people that you're serving. And then whenever it comes to research and things of that sort, one, like, you need to take advantage of every opportunity that you have. But also, if you do have the opportunity to be picky, like, again, like, do something that you care about. Like, whenever it came to breast cancer, like, we do have some breast cancer diagnoses that run in my family. And of course, I am interested in all things women's health.
Yeah.
So when it came to breast cancer, I was like, yes, this is what I need to do. Like, give me all the info. Like, I'm ready. So, yeah.
Nice.
I would say talk to someone who's doing what you're interested in. I think a lot of people have connections, and when you know someone who's doing what you're doing, like, they can tell you, oh, this is what resources I gathered this from, and this is how I found this opportunity, or, oh, I know someone who has this opportunity. I was actually at the conference that I presented at, and I was sitting at a table. We were doing a discussion on DEI, and it was like to back down. Yeah, it was just a conversation around DEI, and one of the people, or three of the people at my table were students at Meharry Medical College. And I was just having a great conversation with them, and I was telling them about how I was looking for an internship for the summer, and they referred me to a program, or one of the one of the students referred me to a program that was closing that same day. And I was like, okay, there's no way I'm going to be able to get 2 recommendations by tonight. Like, mind you, I'm in Florida. So I'm like, okay, I don't know how I'm supposed to be able to get this done. And I wasn't able to get it done. But then she was like, wait, the person who's over this is actually my professor. Like, I can reach out to my professor and see if she can grant you an extension for this. And that's how I got the extension for the program I applied to.
Nice.
And it's like, it's really who you know. So talk to people who are doing what you're doing because they have the resources. And that's how you can start. Because they can kind of guide you and direct you in that as well.
For sure. And you know what? That's also like networking.
Yeah, networking, yeah.
And just being ambitious enough to ask.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And being a good person, like, you never know who you're talking to.
Absolutely.
Ever. And so you're talking with these people, they can be like, that girl was rude. I'm not telling her anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But, yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
for sure. Even one time I went to the nail salon and I was just waiting to get my nails done. And I started talking to this lady who was next to me. And she was a retiree from like the federal government. And she connected me to someone else who was in the EPA because that's what I wanted to get into. And I was able to like secure a job, but I chose Braven over. So yeah, but networking is
amazing.
Yeah.
Simple conversation.
And then let's see. I think I want one more to leave the people with because y'all are all, first off, I was not doing half of the things that y'all are doing now in college. So I'm so proud of y'all. But how do you balance it all? Yeah. With still having time for yourself, if you do.
I haven't mastered that yet.
Okay.
You want to take that?
How do I balance it all? I mean, you really just have to schedule. Like, it seems like a lot, but one, schedule, pray, and like use your team. Like, everything that I do also includes other people. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, for council, like, there's a whole council. Like, I'm the president, but I don't have to do everything myself.
Yeah.
Right.
And even whenever it comes to, I mean, everything. Just rely on your resources. There are people that love you, that care about you.
Yeah.
Like, you can have help, but also just planning. Like, most of my days actually look the same. Like, because I have to plan things in specific places. And even when I'm in the gym, like, if I have to stand on the treadmill and study, like, that's how I take time for myself while still prioritizing. And also just, these opportunities will not be here forever. You know, you're only in college and eligible for this internship in this program and this scholarship for so long. So take advantage of what you can take advantage of because you got 4 years.
Right.
So. It's going by fast. We only have 2 months.
Yeah.
It's almost halfway.
Oh my goodness. This has been absolutely amazing. So I just want to say thank you both so much for agreeing to do this. For booking this and just helping us out. And then also for bringing your most like authentic self, because I'm sure you all are not the only ones that may be going through some of the struggles that you shared. And also just putting people onto like a win, you know? So thank you all so much. And do you all have any questions for me before we close out?
Thank you so much for having us.
you.
I had a great time, truly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank you so much.
Of course. So I guess we can wrap it out.